All right, everybody, we're live once again. Don't Know Podcast with Louis Venko. How are you guys been? How have you guys been? It's Wednesday morning, actually 5 in the morning again. I'm doing this after work to show you guys, that I'm still here with you, fighting. I'll be uploading these like literally right as I go home after this podcast is done. And hopefully by the next one, all this hair that I have will be gone. And yeah, so that's that. Like I said, I just got out of work and I'm tired, guys. It's not easy. I'm actually like right in front of the gym, but not my gym. I just happened to stumble here because along the way of this journey that I've been on of like podcasts and work and like trying to better myself, honestly, there's days I think where I need to like focus on things in order for my head to be straight. I guess is like some days need like all my focus on some areas and some don't. I'm trying not to like multitask so much, so give myself like adequate days off, and mainly like try not to take recovery as like a process of just like fucking off. Like, this is my recovery day, trying to work on something that I actually want to do, and hopefully, see what comes of this. These are my days off. Like I said, these are like the days that I get to relax and just kind of fiddle around with my computer and put these up, because as much as I want to better myself, I also want to put these out there. And I kind of just wanted to talk to you guys a little bit. I wanted to give you guys a story time, and I'll get to why in a second. I'm telling you this, but first, we must dabble in the green if we're gonna get this conversation started between you and I. It's 5 in the morning, but like they say, it's 5 p.m. somewhere out there. So little hit to start the morning. Honestly, guys, the story time. Let me get before I start trailing off like I always do. My first job was I would book hotel reservations for people, and it wasn't bad. They would just call in and they would just tell you basically like everything populated on the screen, and it would tell you like where they were going, or at least like some vague idea, so you would just need to help them guide in the process. And it was like an easy job. Like, honestly, the only reason I could see myself not being there now is because of the pay that they were giving at the time. But regardless, the reason I bring it up is because that job happened to close down. Like, I don't remember how many months in I had, maybe 6, 5, 4 maybe. And that was like my first taste, of what like the real like job was like. And honestly, it wasn't bad. So they were gonna shut down that building because I guess it just got too expensive or something. And I remember that like when they told everybody that they were gonna just basically fire everybody, so many people didn't know what to do. So many people were like, damn, like I don't know what to do after this. This is the only job I've ever had. Like, and I remember like being 16, 17 and thinking, damn, like there's really nothing else you could do, at the age that they were in then. But it's so crazy to me how we lose sight of, I guess, what was important at one point, because I'm sure those old people that were living there don't want to be there. And you see that, I guess, a lot in the workplace as well, like you see a lot of like people who don't want to be there and kind of just take it out on everybody else, which has made me like realize that as good of a workplace as it is, like you're ultimately better off trying to do something for yourself, and it's hard. Like, I'm showing you guys how hard it is. Like, it hasn't been easy. 2023, I thought I was gonna be kicking ass this year, but it's kicking my ass. And like I'm still here. I'm still fighting because I believe there's an idea in my head that's bigger than me, or I guess bigger than what I'm amounting to right now. I guess there's a vision in my head, and I feel like if I don't at least try to accomplish it in some kind of way every day, or at least try to get a little bit closer, either mentally, physically, whatever it might be, it ultimately, if I don't do that, I think it all faded away. Because what I noticed is, like, when I was younger and just working all these jobs, like, you really do get sucked into like this idea of like, I need to get promoted and I need to like move up and I need to do this and do that. But like, jobs are always going to be there, you know. Your dreams aren't always going to be there. You're not always going to be there. We only have a short time to be in this life, and if we're just going to spend it away like working and not trying to improve. And don't get me wrong, like, I don't mind like working a job. Like, if you want to work a job the rest of your life because that's what you want to do, then go for it. Like, I'm just trying to tell you guys that if you want to seek out more for yourselves, and you guys think there's that possibility in you, because I think that is shown very quickly, like once you leave high school, I would say, is like the people who actually care to do something bigger than themselves, and other people who kind of just fuck off. And I mean, both have their place, I guess. Both will learn their lesson along the way. But something about like not going back to school for me, not going back to college, and I'm not like advocating this at all, like, you guys see like what I'm trying to do here, but it got me into a work field that, honestly, being in a work field here, like, I mean, it's very difficult. Not only, you know, I was having this conversation with my friend not too long ago. Like, all these companies and jobs talk about like how much safety, you know, there needs to be implemented in the workplace, like how much they care about safety and everything. But what I realized is that they never care about like your mental safety. I think that is like one of the most important things that isn't discussed. Like, a lot of jobs are mentally draining as much as they are physically draining, and honestly, sometimes they're more mentally than physical sometimes, especially when you have a tedious job that's just constant, like over and over and over. You constantly feel like it's a drag, you know. And I've worked many of these, like, you guys will know. And it's very hard, like, for me, and I'm sure for anybody else out there who does have like a job like this, or any job in general. It's very hard for us to imagine like ourselves doing anything outside of it, or even at least like somehow upgrading or somehow like moving up, not just in like the business itself, but like also in life in general. Like, we all have goals, and I remember like being a kid, you know, and thinking I was gonna take over the world. And honestly, it's not that you can't, it's that there's so many things like being implemented, and there's so many ideas coming at you from all over the place, and sometimes you don't really know what to listen to, and sometimes you don't really care enough to even try to better yourself, or even want to, you know. Like, at least for me, in having like a kid at such an early age, it made me realize that if I don't do what I'm set out to do, ultimately he's gonna see that in his dad, you know. A lot of us parents, and a lot of parents say like, you should follow your dreams and you should, you know, do whatever it is you want to do. But the unfortunate reality is that most parents gave up along the way. Most parents, and this isn't blaming anybody at all, you know, the life you live now is the miracle of whatever your parents did. And I'm not talking about it in a bit. I'm just saying that when kids see you say to them, you can be whatever you want, president, governor, um, astronaut, physicist, whatever. And they see that you have a goal that you, for one, have not obtained yet, because they don't need to see the prize. The prize is whatever, because you could give a kid a toy and it's just, thank you. But if you let a kid sometimes earn up to whatever you're gonna get them, it becomes like a lesson all in, like, in its own. Like, you didn't really have to do anything. But so my point was that, like, when kids see us not so much fail, everybody fails, and you're gonna fail as a parent, as a student, as whatever. So if they don't see us try to achieve what we think is impossible, like, what does that set out to them? What is left on the table for them? Because ultimately kids don't need, like, money. They don't need really anything materialistic. And if you think I'm lying, just look at, like, there's kids who are dying right now, and there's parents who can't afford even just milk for their babies. There's kids out there who are dying, and every day will laugh like nothing is going on. So it's not really so much the failure that they see, it's the giving up. And honestly, if we are to get through 2023, as tough as this year has been, one thing we can't do is give up. I've had friends who've have passed away, and it's crazy to think that, like, at my age, I'm still here trying to figure things out along with you guys, and there's people my age who don't get to try that anymore. There's people my age who maybe committed some things that they didn't want to, or got caught up in some bad stuff, or just even aren't here with us anymore. And, like, fuck, everybody moves on. Like, the world moves on. And I just don't want to be that guy who has this opportunity, I guess. I think I've been through a good amount of stuff that I can help you guys a lot out with. Like I've told you guys before in the last podcast, I'm lost. Like, we're lost. I don't know what to do. I'm trying my best every day to be a little better mentally. And the hardest part is that as much as you want to succeed, it's really hard to see the change when you still have bills to pay, when you're still living in the same house. And honestly, I'm just trying to look past that. I can't let myself... I think so apart from this year, 2023, like all the years beforehand, mentally I was just so tough on myself, I guess. Mentally I was just lost, for lack of a better word. I was kind of just in a trance, where I felt like it was impossible to get out of. It was exhausting. I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to go anywhere. It was just exhausting, like the fact that I couldn't get out of this mental trap that I've caused for myself, which we know as depression, some would say. And what I've came to realize is that, for one, if you are depressed, let's just say, right now listening to this, which I hope I can help in any way, but if you are feeling depressed, who else is going to want better for you than you? I was in that same spot as a lot of you guys are, where you just feel like giving up, like nothing's important, like, And every day, like, still thoughts like that go through my head, as it, with like everybody, you know, like why is it so tough to fight that? And what helped for me is when I was depressed, I came to the realization that no matter how many tears you cry and how many fists you fucking punch through walls and how many, you know, tantrums you throw, ultimately, if you are to get better, for one, it's up to you as an individual. It's really hard to do that. And something that really helped me, and if you guys think this is bullshit, so let me just show you guys. I always show you guys. What helped me out a lot is I kept this journal of just things. So it started out as, I'll show you guys. I won't show you what I read. I mean, what I've wrote down, because there's like some classified stuff in there, you know. But it just started off with like a drawing like this, you know, like that. And then one day to myself, I was just looking at it, and then I started writing down the name of my podcast, and then I wrote my name down. And then slowly I just thought, like, why not write in here what I'm feeling, and then see later on, you know, what it's like. And sometimes I'll look back at this and read it to like myself, and I get teary-eyed, you know, because it took a lot to even just get to this mental state that I want to be in, or that at least I think I'm in. It took a lot. And not only did it take a lot, I would say it kind of changed everything, you know, once I realized that ultimately it's up to us, you know. Who else is gonna take you to the gym? Who else is gonna, you know, study harder? If you want to be a straight A student, like, why can't you? If you want to be the best employee, why can't you? I think that I'm in a point now where I don't want to be like just your average dude, you know? I don't want to be just some guy who got out of high school and did nothing. Especially being like an immigrant and all. Like, and if you guys don't know my background, like, I'll tell you about it. Like, I'm from Mexico, you know, you could see fucking beans all over my face. But yeah, so I come from a family of immigrants, and just big part of that, it's not easy, you know. So my parents had enough courage to decide to come here and live in the US, and decided to make the brilliant choice to take me with them. And honestly, guys, maybe at some point in my life I would have been like, fuck, like, why did we even come here, you know? Like, why? It's so difficult here for an immigrant. But I guess at some point I was like that. And even though, like, life could deal us a bad hand, like, ultimately it just makes the come up story that much better, you know? We can't always... A lot of people that I've seen and came to realize is that, like, people who are mad at everything, like people who tend to be angry with, like, not only themselves but like everyone around them, is ultimately just somebody who couldn't, for one, either forgive themselves for something they did, or hasn't made peace with whatever they did, you know? Because ultimately, if you did something you regret, like, you know, who knows? You could have hurt somebody in a way you didn't want to, or you could have lied, stolen, whatever it could have been. ultimately, that's in the past, you know. In order for us to become greater, and in order for us to reach the kind of goals we want to reach, it requires forgiving ourselves for letting us slack so much, forgiving ourselves for doing the wrong thing when we know we should have done the right thing, forgiving ourselves for every mistake we've ever made, and telling ourselves, this is where the turning point in my life is. This is where I change everything. Everybody who's talked down on me and who thinks I can accomplish nothing, they're wrong. And I'm out to prove it like you have no idea. And you know, these ramblings are just like a reflection of what you guys are hearing in my head. Like, I'm talking to myself. But if I can instill something in you, like, it's to, I guess when I was depressed, I would say, like, let's go back a little bit. When I was depressed, I never thought I'd be recording podcasts again. I never thought I'd be working as much as I did. Not when was it? Like last week I worked a 12-hour shift right after doing 40 already. And then I still recorded a podcast, which is the one before this one, I believe. That's when. But my point is like, yeah, it hurts, you know, my feet ache, my head aches, everything hurts, you know. It's all pain until it's not. What I came to realize from like going to the gym and from working so much, it's like, it's what you gotta do, ultimately. I can't, if, let's just say right now, I stopped doing these, I think it would not only be like a disservice to myself, but also to like all you guys that I can help, you know? And it's sometimes what I came to realize too is that not a lot of people have a friend. Not a lot of people have somebody to turn their back to. And this is what they tune out to. At least I hope you do. But you know, I appreciate every one of you guys, and all you guys are like the pillar that keeps me going, because I cannot let you guys down. As much as it hurts, and as much as I want to show you guys that an immigrant of all things can try to change something in his life without, you know, with you guys seeing the whole journey. From the start, you guys have seen where I used to live. Now you guys have seen the car that I have. Now you guys have seen my body change. You guys have seen my haircuts. You guys have seen people come and go. And sometimes I look back and I think of just how far mentally I've came, because one thing about me is, like, when I was in high school and when I was younger, I was very introverted. Like, I was that guy who wouldn't talk, you know, but I was always quiet, which is weird now because all I do is fucking talk shit. But I was always that introvert, never really like stood out, you know, never really wanted to like pop out. And honestly, looking back at it now, and I guess this is my advice to like all you high school folk, is whatever you set out to do, whether it's joining a band, playing the guitar, you know, reading a book, whatever you set out to do it with 100% intent, and do it with 100% of effort. Because with what I realized with like me going into the gym is, if right now I was at the gym and I'm not 100% focused in what I'm doing. And it's not just focusing on like, oh, I'm lifting this fucking barbell, or I'm, lifting this weight. It's focusing in like what's up here, what's bothering you, what's in your head that is nagging at you. Like, why are you there in the first place? What's bringing you to the gym? For me, it was honestly the fact that my mental state was like improving, but my body wasn't. As much as I was becoming, or at least as much as I was like having some idea of what I wanted to do and stuff, my body was just getting, puttier and puttier every time. And then I thought to myself, is this really like the kind of person that I want you guys to see? Like just this chunky guy talking shit. And even right now, like I'm not saying I'm skinny, like I still see me as a chunky guy talking shit, but it kind of made me realize that if I don't have the body to prove to you guys that I really want to succeed, it's like it's kind of doing a shit job. I want to, I guess, I don't want to inspire anybody. That's not what I want to do. Like, I don't want you to be like, I want to do what he's doing. I don't want to inspire anybody like that. I want everybody to become mentally tougher, because that's all we have. The other day I was thinking to myself, I'm like, damn, we're really just spinning on a planet. Like, if something were to hit us, like, what then? Like, what the fuck do? We just die. And it made me realize how fragile like everything could be, as much as we don't want it to. Like, we think that everything is gonna last forever. And ultimately, I think I decided that I am tired of being tired. I'm tired of waking up every day and looking at the alarm clock and thinking, shit, I have to go to work. I'm tired of thinking, like, how can I pay this? How can I pay that? I'm tired of thinking that. I want to deal with my problems as they come. This 2023, we're going to fuck everybody up, whoever doubted us. I am just exhausted of not trying. And if, like I said, if I don't do this, it's just kind of like a disservice to myself and everybody who isn't trying. I think there's very few people who want to escape this whole thing and want to develop themselves into something greater. We all set kind of like boundaries and barriers onto like our own potential, I think. And it isn't till you accept the fact that you fucked up and you want to be better. Here's the thing though, like, a lot of people think of depression in a bad, like, a lot of people think that depression means you're stuck. And that isn't necessarily the case. I believe that the reason you're depressed in the first place is because, for one, you want to get out of the whatever situation you're with, whether it's toxic, whether it's abusive, whatever it may be. And for two, you just care enough about yourself to get out that it's just bothering you that you can't. We have a fight and a flight response in our body, like, naturally. So when we're given when we can't, we can't do either option, we can't fight nor flight, what's our mind to do other than to break down? And the thing I've realized is that so many people, if you just notice, if you're just walking by, so many people have already broken down in front of you. That cashier you see every day at the store that just is mentally, like you just see their face and it just looks so like almost melted in a way of just sadness and grief. Like those people decided that their dream wasn't good enough, you know. I want my dream to mean something, even if it doesn't pan out the way I do, you know. I don't know. I have always been so let down by myself, I guess, you know. And I've always been so let down from things that I could have achieved that I didn't, or that things that I wanted to accomplish but didn't, you know. So this year, for a change, I always thought, you know, or I think to myself, I'm like, well, you really like, and this goes to everybody, like we really owe it to ourselves to try to become something great, because if we don't do it and we don't try, nobody else is going to do it for us. And as much as it's scary to do, and as much as like it's hard to look at yourself in the mirror and say I fucked up, that's the first step. You know, there's steps to healing, I found out, and there's steps to, you know, improving your mental health, and there's steps to get there. And if you guys want to improve little by little, I truly believe that writing down feelings, it doesn't even have to be goals. Like it could be whatever. Trust me, all your feelings will pour down onto a page. And I think it has to be like paper and pencil, pen. Sometimes there's just so much like pent up emotion that we forget to really look deep within and think, how harmful can this be to me, you know? Because we go through our whole lives giving everybody else advice, but we refuse to take our own. That's another thing that I've had to learn the hard way, is that, you know, all through our life, we always tell people how they can improve, and we want to see people become better, but we don't really take the time to analyze ourselves and think for a second, like, shit, this isn't what I want to be doing. This isn't where I want to be. I think that the moment you accept the fact that you're where you are right now because of the decisions you've made, but you can also change your future into things, you know, what if it just turned out better than you ever imagined? Have you ever thought of that? Like, as scary as it is, like, if, let's just say you tried it out, like, what if, you know, what if it actually took off? I don't want to seem like I'm just repeating myself and preaching myself, but I guess this is like the recap to like the last video, I guess, just seeing where I'm at now. Because like I said, like in the New Year's episode, if you guys want to listen to that, I set out my goals clearly as to like what I want to do with this podcast and where I'm at like mentally. So this whole process, this whole fucking journey of like, it's been 3 or 4 months of this year. Oh no, 3, because it's about to be in March. So, but I started a little earlier, so numbers, it's been like 3 months that I've really like just put in work to either my craft or work or the gym. And something I realized along the way too is we outgrow people that sometimes we thought we were gonna spend forever with, you know. And I think a lot of people are part of our lives for a lesson, really. Most people that aren't in my life anymore have been more help now that I don't talk to them than when they were here, you know. I saw the true faces of a lot of people, you know. There was I mean, I've talked about this before, but there was just a group of dudes that I would hang out with, and for one reason or another, like, now they don't talk to me or fuck with me anymore. But I think if it wasn't for me leaving a certain group of people in a certain group of what I would call what I used to call friends, I noticed there's just, honestly, most of the time they're just there because we needed that kind of kick in the ass, you know. When I was younger and I thought to myself, like, wow, like, what was I gonna be? You know, I always thought I was gonna be some kind of, I don't know. I never thought I would be doing these, but it's just through doing them so often and so much and just repeatedly over and over that I kind of realized that this is honestly like my shit. This is what I love to do. I love to just being on here and rambling, you know. My experiences are out there for you guys, you know. If we are all to leave this earth at one point, why not share it? And let me just go back to like what I was talking about of when I was in high school, of like being an introvert. Something that came to mind is that it got to a point in high school where I was just like, I don't want to be this anymore. Like, why am I just so shy, so awkward? Like, and I wish it would have came sooner because I didn't do it soon enough. But I just knew that like something had to change, or at least that I wanted something to change, but I didn't know where to start. You know, I was still so depressed and woe is me and, you know, whatnot. But let me collect my thoughts after this hit here. Good morning. So anyway, so I didn't know where to start this whole healing process of mine after I came to the realization that I did not want to be like so introverted anymore. And it's not that I wanted to be like, you know, talk of the town, everybody like look at me. It's not that I wanted to do that. It's just I wanted to, like this, like I wanted to be able to communicate with somebody without even making it a big deal. And then now I can proudly say that most of the people I've talked to, worked with, seen, hung out with, I can have a conversation with them for hours, you know, and make up all the topics. And for one, this has helped, of course, but it wasn't that. Like, I had to get to some kind of point of being comfortable to, you know, even just start doing a podcast. But I think it was after, I don't know, I would say like junior year, senior year. That's when I told myself that I didn't want to like do this anymore. And what's crazy, guys, and I'll be completely honest, is like, even though I told myself that at that moment, keep in mind, like, you had all that time of like when I tried to kill myself, and from like being a dad to like living on my own, like you have this whole time of me trying to just heal myself, of me trying new things out and seeing what worked, what didn't. And honestly, guys, nothing worked at that point. Like, I didn't know what my next step was. I didn't know where to even start dealing with this whole depression, you know. It's like when I told myself that I wanted to change, it's like I was ready, you know, to fucking take down whatever was in my way. But when it finally arose and all this thing was coming up, like, even though I was battle ready, I wasn't ready for like this big ass war, you know, that was about to come on in my head. I wasn't ready for all these thoughts of, you know, you're nothing, you'll never be nothing. You'll, you know, so many negative thoughts that I'm sure goes through your head too. It wasn't until I looked at that and said, why? You know? Like, okay, you are a piece of shit. Why? Why do you think you're a piece of shit? Oh, because the fact that, you know, you can't get over some girl, because the fact that somebody broke you in ways that you never thought, you know, somebody like, all right, that question is answered. Next, why do you feel sad? Why do you cry? Is it sad because you miss this person or whatever it may be that's making you sad, or are you sad because you can't get over it? Are you sad that you miss them, or are you sad that they hurt you? Whatever it may be, that why is that's the one you have to attack. That's the one that you have to chase after and hit. Let's just say I'm some lonely person, right? Like I was, like this introvert that I'm talking about. Let's just say I was this lonely person. I'll start telling myself, fuck, I feel so sad, like nobody loves me. But how is anybody gonna love you like just staying in your house? It's hard, you know. Some people don't like the sun, some people don't like the cold, but ultimately, like, if you're feeling sad or if you're feeling lonely, at least in that situation, not much is going to change if you're just there in your house or if you're just there in your little circle. And I'm not saying you have to like go out and greet everybody, but just little instances you see here and there throughout your life, like, you know, maybe just say hi to somebody on the street, and, you know, maybe next time tip somebody another dollar to start off a conversation there. You know, just start off with everyday things until you get comfortable enough to start talking about yourself. Because I think that would be like an important virtue to have, I guess, if you're trying to better yourself, is being able to tell your situation without, for one, without stuttering, but not just stutter like verbally, but stuttering like in a way that hurts you, you know. Stuttering sorry guys. That was a big hit. Talking about stuttering. Anyways, when you do that, so you have to start just little everyday things. Say hi to somebody maybe you don't like to. Say, you know, greet somebody that you never have. Everybody's lonely, you know, to some degree, you know. Look how many people are here. It's just, sometimes being alone isn't the worst part, because sometimes a lot of us are just so surrounded by so many like loving people that we're just alone in a like kind of just days of like not knowing what to do, and just kind of being in this anguish of like, fuck, like what's next, you know. But if you can honestly, after that point, talk about your situation and what you've been through, I think that gives you enough power to see it in a different perspective and maybe change your whole outlook on it. Because like I've said, many people that I don't talk to in my life have done better out of it than they are, you know, than they were part of it. And I guess that's the sad reality, is that, you know, sometimes people don't stick around the way you want them to. But here's the thing that a lot of people don't think about, that they want somebody, you know, to be there But how come you're not that person for someone, you know? Like, how come you're introverted enough to just kind of dilute the world of who you are, you know? Kind of just, how are you just gonna stop, you know, trying? At least if you're trying to be social, like, what's the worst that can happen? I'll tell you guys a story. There was this one girl that I really liked, and I think this is like where the introvert part of me was completely like dissipated. This is when I knew I had honestly kind of bettered myself, for lack of a better term. But this is when I knew that, as scared as I was to, I'll tell you the guys the story, but as scared as I was in the moment, like, it didn't matter anymore. So anyway, let me continue with the story, or let me just start it. There was this time where I used to like this girl, and every day I would just see her, and this was like at a job I used to have. And every day I was just so fascinated by this girl, and I was just so like, you know, enamored and in love, and every day, like, that was the reason I went to work. But so I'm looking at this girl, right? And one day I told myself, I was like, fuck, I was like, I want to talk to her so bad. And at this point, at this job, I didn't talk to anybody and didn't know anybody. And so I was just in my head all day, you know, just kind of talking shit in my head all day. So I was like, fuck, I really, you know, I really want to talk to her, at least say hi. Like, this girl was pretty, honestly, guys. This girl was, to me, like, I wouldn't have talked to her if she wasn't pretty, but she was just really, how would you say? She was just gorgeous. So then one day I told myself, I'm like, really, what's stopping you? Like, this is literally the conversation I had in my head. I'm like, what's stopping you? You're one day you guys aren't gonna work here anymore, and what, you guys aren't just gonna like know each other? And I didn't like that, honestly. You know, I think you have to get to a point where you hate what ifs. You can't leave it to what if anymore. You can't be like, what if I would have started a podcast? What if I would have, you know, gone to Asia, or who the fuck knows? What if I had to talk to this girl? Let's just put it there. So I don't know. I just told myself that I wanted to talk to her, but I didn't know how. And I'll tell you guys how I did it. This was so dumb. I should have done it a different way, but I guess, like, this is me. Like, this is kind of embarrassing. I'm telling you guys a better story, but so I was like, fuck, since I was pretty new at this job, I was like, fuck, what do I do? Like, I don't even know anybody enough to be like, you know, introduce me or something. But I was thinking in my head, I was like, fuck, what do I say? What do I do? And one day of the blue, it hit me. I was like, fuck, I'm new here. I don't know the building. So I went up to her. Well, so I thought about it. My perfect plan was, I was gonna, after lunch, I was gonna come in and pretend to be lost because I needed to find where the bathroom was. And obviously I knew where the bathroom was. I'd been working there for like a month, and that's probably like the first thing you ask when you go to a job. I think that's time for another hit. But oh look, if you guys are curious what this is pretty cool. It's a Dispo that has 2 flavors in it that is controlled by a switch. And one of the flavors tastes fucking disgusting. Which was that one. And the other one tastes pretty good. So anyways, this was my perfect plan. I was gonna come in from break and pretend to be lost, you know, not know where the bathroom is because I was new there. And I was gonna pretend to be lost around her area and try to go to as close as her as possible, so I can look as lost to her as possible, so I could be like, where's the bathroom at? And then from there start a conversation. So this was my perfect plan. This is how I was gonna talk to her. And uh I'm coming back from break. I go inside, and it's like a big ass warehouse, right? So we go in, uh and we all go back to our stations. Oh no, I came in like 5 minutes before, like just so I could catch her alone because we took breaks at different times. And so I go up to her, and I'm like, "Hey, do you know where the bathroom is?" And she looked at me like, "What the fuck, dumbass?" But she was nice, and she was like, "Oh yeah, it's over there or whatever." And I was like, "Oh, and what was your name?" And she told me her name, and um, then she asked me for mine. That's when I was like, "You're in." And those are like the little signs that you guys like want to pick up on. Is if you guys are like trying to talk to somebody, is if they have like a genuine interest like that, or like just as a simple, "Hey, what's your name?" That's so interest. She could have just said, "My name is blank," and then fucking, left it at that. My name is whatever it is. And after that, I was so happy. I was fucking, bright red, and I was like, fuck it. I was like, oh shit, I did that. And that day and that moment was the day I told myself, yeah, this is not high school you. This is not past you. Like, whoever came out that day, I was glad for. I needed that guy. And ultimately, I want to be the guy that you guys turn to and say, "Oh, I can relate to with this," or "Hey, I know how you felt with this," or "Hey, isn't it crazy that this?" Like, I want to share all this with you so you guys know, and you guys are prepared for things that I wasn't. But ultimately, yeah, that day was cool. It was awesome. And after that, with that girl, you know, uh we started talking, and it's kind of a sad story, but we I was just like friendly to her. We never like dated or anything, but I was just friendly. And um at that job, uh somebody, I think, if I'm being completely honest with you, or maybe this is just me fucking hallucinating, or maybe the weed got to me. Let's just take one more hit before I finish the story. That was a good one. um, that was a good flavor. But I think because some dude, saw us talking, and I would always make her laugh, and we'd just always have a good time like we do here. And I think it just kind of made him jealous, so he hopped on the bandwagon, and he was older, hotter. So it didn't work out ultimately. And uh after that, I tried to like keep in touch, but nothing. We had switched jobs, things had moved on. And but I was just here's the thing, yo. Some people could look at that and never recover. Some people look at that shit and is like, damn, I got rejected by this girl I like. For me, that was almost liberating in a way that, like, I did it, and whatever happened, I was happy because I was still part of it. Had I stayed quiet and shit, we would have never talked. I would have never met her, and I would have never, you know, that was just such a huge step for me to take. And it was just slowly after that day that things got better and better. I ended up knowing everybody in that fucking workplace because I was just so talkative, and not a lot of people liked me. Uh, there was this one guy who hated me there. Uh, I don't know. I just don't think he liked the fact that I was so. I think my positive energy like just ruined like his everyday like routine, you know, because he was used to just coming in. Like, he was an older guy, he was my manager, and he comes in, and I don't know, he just never seemed to like me for one reason or another. But I I never did anything to him, and he was just always kind of like a little, just kind of like a little dickhead to me, like um in the way of like he wouldn't he would tell me to like tone it down on the talking, you know? Like, what the fuck? Like, we're here standing for 10 hours. Like, what the fuck? I don't understand why, like, employers and, like, what the fuck? I can't talk to somebody I'm gonna be staring at for fucking 10 hours. But, anyways, I just don't think, I think I ruined the fact that he was, like, such, like, an alpha male. Like, and I didn't even try to. Like, I don't want to impress anybody. I'm not trying to, like, outdo anybody at all. Like, but I think he just took it that way, simply for the fact that I came in and like the first days I was already like, you know, buddy with like my partner next to me. And again, this wasn't easy when I was talking to these guys. Like, these guys were like 40, 50 years old. They already had fucking, you know, 3 marriages and fucking, you know, are missing 3 toes from like the war, and you know, it's just crazy shit. But it just, that guy in particular, that guy in that job, he just didn't like me, I think, because of that. And I was never rude to him or anything, but it got to the point where I don't know, I was just unhappy with the guy. Like, I was just annoyed by him. It was just so draining to like have to go in there and like put up with his shitty attitude every day, you know, when I'm there just minding my own business. But he comes in one day, and I used to have this friend, and one day I was like, oh, one day, actually, let me get my story straight. One day, I guess this dude loved monsters. The dude that didn't like me, he loved monsters. And if you know me, I love monsters. But he used to only like to drink the green one. That's the one I love, the green one. And one day I sipped on one that I bought, and he was standing next to me, and he goes, he's like, "Is that a monster?" He's like, "It smells so good." He's like, "I haven't had one in a long time. He's like, "I used to be so fit." He's like, "I would drink all these a day." And he's like, "Now look at me." He's like, "I'm fat." And I was just like, cool, like, whatever. And after that, the days went on, and I didn't think much of it. But he just started being even more of a dickhead. And here's how you fucking mentally win in a situation like that. I'm gonna give you a good tip, and this will fucking break anybody who's being a fucking dickhead to you. Especially if they're just trying to do it like low-key, you know, just subtly, but you know what's up. What I did is, one day he just bugged me so bad that I was like, oh my, I was like, I don't know. I don't know what I was gonna do, but I was just so like, it just bothered me that so I told my friend, I was like, oh, you know what I'm gonna do? Something like creeped up in my head. I was like, I'm gonna go and buy him his monster. I'm gonna go and do something nice for him that nobody's probably ever done. Nobody's probably ever gonna do, because like I said, he's like that guy. And he was just those kind of dudes who like have to one up you if like any kind of women are around, or if any kind of dude are around, they always have to one up them, you know. But anyways, so so I go and get him this monster. And you guys should have seen his face. So I go and give it to him, and I was like, "Oh, here." I told him, "Here, I got this for you." He looks at the can and looks back up at me. He's like, "No way! Oh my god!" He's like, you got this for me? And then I was like, yeah, of course. I was like, you can have it. I was like, I just got it for you. You said you were craving one. He's like, no, it's okay. He's like, here, you can have it. I was like, nah, I bought it for you. Like, you're not gonna accept it. He's like, all right, thank you. And he fucked that monster up. And I'm telling you, that is probably the nicest thing anybody's ever gonna do for him for a while. Because after that, it turns out that he was just, I guess, sexually abusing people, or I don't fucking know. But you know, that guy honestly taught me that as shitty as people are, they can't do anything when you haven't done anything to them, you know? I was never mean to that guy, you know. I never, you know, I never called him names, and I never fucking dissed on him or anything. I'd always talk shit, but like, you know, when he wasn't looking. But the thing is, like, with people like that, I think they're just stuck in such like a dog mentality, like I have to be the top, that it just brings everybody down. And that job also made me realize that women work really difficult with each other. There used to be this area at that job who it was just all women. Like, they were just like picking shit, but it was just all women. And I like, you guys aren't gonna believe me, but like every week that I went to work, it was always either another issue. One of them was crying, the other one was throwing punches, you know. One of them was just pulled her hair, the other one doesn't want to fucking work, the other one doesn't want to put bags in the fucking, I don't know, whatever it could be. But every day it was something new. And then on the other side, where all the dudes worked, because somehow this was the dumb thing about this warehouse, I don't know why, but they separated like the men and the women from like working with each other. But I guess that sexual abuse dude that I told you guys about, I think that's probably why they do that now, I guess. But they separated it. And on the men's side, you would get a lot of that. Like I said, a lot of dudes who like want to one up everybody and just have to be that top dog, and you know, just ultimately have to, if they're not beating somebody, they're angry, and if somebody's doing better than them, they're angry. And that's the thing I also realized too, is like, once you start bettering your mindset, hardly anybody comes with you. Like, hardly anybody's gonna improve with you. Everybody you'll see will like slowly just fucking start falling, and slowly you start to crumble. But we can't give up, because ultimately if we give up, like, what's it all for, you know? We've spent, I'm 21, and whoever's out there is 21. We've spent 12 years in school. At least most of us have. But you know, most of us have spent time in school, and if not in school, you were homeschooled, and if you weren't homeschooled, you were doing something else, whether it was good or bad, whether you regret it or not. We've spent so much time suffering, I think. We spent so much time fucking off. We spent so much time dilly-dallying. If anything is gonna change, it's up to us. And if anything is gonna go right ever, who knows? But we already seen what it's like going wrong. We've already seen what it's like depressed. We've already seen what it's like struggling. How much longer are we all gonna wait before we actually like want to do something that not only improves us, but like everybody else around us, you know? This is what I want you guys to take away from this podcast, is that I'm here, not because I want to be, you know, like I've told you guys, I wanted to kill myself, commit suicide so many times ago. And I'm not doing this because I'm not doing this because I want to be rich. I'm not doing this because I want to, be the biggest podcast in the world. I'm not doing this because I want to own the biggest things. And I ultimately want to do this to help everybody else around me, because I see how good everybody can be. And I see how good everyone is when they change their mindset, when they change their outlook on things, when they change their negativity. They no longer say, I can't. They say, I figure it out now. I'll figure it out. Maybe I can't hear, but what if there's 3 cans over there, A lot of us, it's so scary to want to start something new, whether it's relationships, businesses, schooling, parenthood, whatever. It's so scary. As scary as it is, like, what's so scary about it? Are you more scared of the fact that it's not going to work out, or are you scared of the fact that you're going to just torture yourself? Because it's going to take hard work to get wherever you want to. So that torture is just all in its own, whether it's physical or mental. A lot of people don't want to go through that struggle of their dreams. And a lot of people don't want to go through the journey, which is pain and suffering, to get to where you want. Whether we are surrounded with people or not, I think we have to take into account that we're our own mind. As much as people are influencing you, as in, like, your parents want you to go to school, you don't want to go to school, you are trying to start a business, everybody's telling you not to, you're gonna go to the gym, people are telling you not to, whatever it could be. Who is gonna make the final decision, Like, let's just say you went with your parents' decision or anybody else's decision. Don't you think you're going to live with that regret of, or that thought in your mind of, damn, like, what if I would have taken my own route? What if I would have done it different? Ultimately, I think you have to look at all your options, and mine are very limited. Mine are just, mine right now are just hard work, struggle, pain, suffering, all that. I want all that because I think I let myself be so weak and so vulnerable in the wrong, in not the right ways, in just the most toxic and negative ways, that I kind of owe it to myself to just say fuck it. As if I'm gonna suffer, I'm gonna go down swinging, and whatever happens of this, I'm gonna deal with it as it comes. And with that, guys, seriously, if you're out there and you're struggling, I'm out here with you. What time is it? I don't even know. It's like it's 6 a.m. All right, guys. This podcast has been going on for like an hour plus. And like I said, guys, I'm out here with you. I'm not gonna leave you like so many people have abandoned us, you know. So many people have left us. And just know that out of anybody you listen to and everybody that's around you, you have somebody that you can at least come relate to and come here talk his bullshit and come here, you know, get emotional, have some laughs, whatever it could be, but that are genuine. You guys are going to get genuine stories from me. You guys are going to get all the vulnerability because, like I said, this is where it all starts, you know. This is where the changes, and then these are what like my podcast is for. I want to improve and see all you guys improve and see myself grow with you. Even though we've outgrown so many people, we got to show them that the moment you left me, I was not done growing, you know. I was just barely getting started because the moment all these people left us, they left us for, no, honestly, I think whatever is going on with you guys, do it for yourselves, you know. Like I said, all these people leaving us, they had no idea what fucking beasts they've unleashed. They have no idea what kind of people we are now. Like I said, if you want to get better, let this episode be your sign to get better. Let this fucking moment be the sign to get better. Because, like I said, I'm struggling here with you. So if I get better, I'll help you. And if you get better, you'll help me. Whatever it could be, you know, I want to do that. So let's prove to everybody who left us that fuck it, you know. They can suck a dick. Everybody who fucking doesn't want to be with us anymore, give them a reason to regret it. Give them a reason to look back and say, damn, I could have had that. Damn, I could have been right there. All right. Thank you guys so much for listening. I'm sure I talked to you guys zero off and we went all over the place. And I hope you guys caught a thing or two. I'll be uploading these shortly. I'm going to try to stay up a couple more hours. Like I said, we got to work, bro. But I'm going to try to stay a couple more hours up and upload these as fast as possible. And I'll be trying to release these a little faster. I'm trying to do as many as possible, but with the work schedule and everything. And I'll check out the Instagram page as well. That's where I release like a lot of clips and stuff. There's also some on YouTube as well, but not as many. But Instagram, check it out at Don't Know Podcast. Check all that shit out. That's where I have all the clips, all the fun stuff, and like all the updates and where you see all that shit's going. And good morning and good night to whoever's out there, whoever's listening. I hope y'all have a good one and see y'all in the next one.